Hi, my name is Izzy. I used to make videos 3 years ago or a bit longer than that, and then I stopped because I fell in love with a man, and we've been in a relationship for that amount of time now. And what happened in 2021, I left my marriage due to different reasons, and I have talked about these in those videos that I used to make. But now I want to come back and talk about all different things, and because I used to enjoy it, I used to enjoy making videos, and it's also something that's kind of therapeutic in a way, because it's like writing in a journal, except that you're talking and maybe sharing it with other people who are interested in what you're talking about. So just going back to 2021, I left my husband, who's now my ex-husband, and about a year later I decided to I was feeling a bit lonely, and I thought, well, it's time to maybe try the dating apps. I'd been I wasn't in a relationship, but I had sort of an encounter with a man, and he lived in France, and I traveled there, but it didn't work out. It was very weird and kind of dysfunctional, and I'm to blame. I'm the one to blame, because I did this and I thought, yeah, long distance relationship, it might work, but it didn't work out. And maybe for some people it works out, but in my case it didn't. And I decided I'm not gonna try and do this anymore, because if I can't meet the person directly in person, then I don't know what they're like, really. People can portray a different image of themselves when they're talking online, or when they're texting, or when they sending pictures, or even talking to you, on FaceTime or something like that. So no, that wasn't going to be my thing anymore. And I also said to myself, if I'm going to meet someone, they're going to have to live pretty close by, at least in the same city, because it's not worth, going through all the effort of traveling somewhere and then finding out that person, you have no chemistry with this person, or they have red flags, or whatever it is. So yeah, I tried a dating app. I won't say which one, because that's really irrelevant. And I went on a couple of dates with that that specific dating app. The first date was, I didn't really have much idea about what to expect, but we had a drink at a cafe, and we had a really nice talk, and it was very um, civil. He was very polite, very respectful. It was a great talk, great chat. But I think we both felt there wasn't any chemistry between us. So it was good, because we gave each other feedback afterwards, and that was great. And we were very honest. We said, no, we don't have any chemistry, but yeah, we didn't waste our time. It was nice. Uh, he was also a lot younger than me. He was, well, back then I was 50. I was 59, and he was sort of in his mid 40s. So it was, it was a big age difference. And maybe he thought that I was too old for him. So, and that's fine. And then I went on another date with a guy who, he was like an optometrist or something like that. The first one was actually a chef, but he also had his own business, but it's not really important. The second was an optometrist. He was yeah, he was quite tall. He was quite, I would say, average looking. You know, he had something about him. Uh, he was very, very slim, very skinny, and we talked. Yeah, same thing. We went. We had a couple of drinks together. Not, I don't drink any alcohol, so it wasn't alcohol for me. And we had a really, really nice chat. But same thing, I didn't really feel that there was any chemistry. I found him really friendly. I thought, oh, he would make a great friend, you know. But not, I couldn't imagine myself in a romantic relationship with him. I don't really know what he thought about me because um, after we finished the date, I thought he was going to get back to me and ask, oh, so how did you find the date? How would you like to see each other again and things? But no, a lot of, you know, in a lot of cases, people don't even, you know, it's weird. But I thought he'd get back to me, and I wasn't really that keen to see him again. So I just waited. If he wants to see me again, I'll wait for him to text me, and then I'll just answer, yeah, you were a very nice person, but I didn't really feel that you were a match for me, but I wish you all the best. And yeah, don't take it the wrong way. And because I don't like, you know, I don't like nice people to be offended, you know, I don't like them to feel bad about themselves. And then I went on another, no, I think it was still the same dating app. And yeah, same thing. I was talking to someone, but he was like the kind of guy who seemed a bit desperate. Yeah, still younger than me, about 45 years old, but he seemed very desperate. It wasn't too bad looking, had a really good job, was making really good money apparently. He'd been married once, I think, no children, living in his own house, and so materialistically he was very well off, but he seemed so desperate, and he constantly was texting me, good morning, good night, good morning, how are you, blah, 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 even before we met. So I found it a little bit too much because I think this type of texting, it's, you know, if you haven't met in person yet, what's the point of saying good morning, how are every day, and saying good night every day when, like, you haven't even met in person? It's a bit too much. And I'm not the type, I mean, I really like someone to give me a lot of attention, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy it, but I have to, you know, meet this person first and find out if I even like them, because if I don't, well, what's the point, you know? So, but I was very polite. I answered back. I said, yes, I'm fine. Yes, good morning, blah, blah, blah. And then finally we went on a date, and it wasn't the best environment. It was a very, very busy cafe, and with mainly younger people. So I think he didn't like it that much because I suggested it. I didn't even know the place, but I didn't know what it was like. And you could see he was sort of judging his environment, and he was also, I think he was overdressed because he was wearing kind of almost a suit, maybe just came straight from work, I don't know. But I was like dressed quite casually, you know. I mean, this is a first date, we're not going out to a five-star restaurant or whatever, you know. It's just a cafe, just to meet and greet, so to say, you know. So I found that a little bit too much and a little bit ridiculous in my, you know, I mean, I know I'm very judgmental, but it's just the way I am. And yeah, blame me for it. Tell me, maybe someone else would have been happy to see their date in a suit, but I thought, in my opinion, it should be something more casual. You know, if you're going on a first date, don't overdress. I mean, you're not going to a job interview. You know, like, at the end of the day, it's just a very casual thing, and you don't even know if you're gonna like each other. You know, and again, we had a very nice chat, and he was also very polite. I mean, I've never experienced any disrespect from any man. I mean, really, I must say they were all very, very polite and very decent and respectful. So I don't have any complaints about that. You know, no inappropriate things that they said or did. Really, really good. You know, so I was very happy with that, and it's very important. It was important to me as well, because if I get that disrespect, yeah, it's a big thing. I don't know what I would have done. I would have just probably maybe got up and left, but it didn't happen, so it was good. And those dates lasted each about an hour and a half at the most, because I also don't like to make it too long, and if it drags on too much, I think they might get the wrong idea. Maybe they're going to think that I like them too much. So I like to limit it to 60 minutes, and then I just get up and I actually put my timer on. So yeah, but yeah, I didn't really find him. I found him quite good looking, but I wasn't attracted to him. Again, I wasn't attracted. He was too formal and too, I don't know. He also complained about, one stage he complained about his cup, whether he served coffee wasn't, clean enough or something, or I don't know. I could tell he was quite a fussy sort of person, and set in his ways, and even though he appeared very nice, there's always two sides to people, and one that you know, and one that you don't know, and you only get to know that side when you know them a bit better, or when you're living together. So yeah, I did tell him, look, I really think that you're a great person, and you're really nice, and you're very polite, and I felt like that was very respected, and yeah, and you deserve a great woman, and I said, unfortunately, I do not want to pursue this any further, and yeah, just keep looking, and eventually you'll find your person. And he wanted to text me after that, and but I ended up blocking him, because I didn't want him to beg me to see him again or something like that, because I know he quite liked me. He was quite impressed with me, and he liked me. He said, "Oh, you're so graceful," but again, I get a bit suspicious when people throw a lot of compliments at me, especially when they don't know me really well, and I kind of not like that type of thing either. I just don't like someone telling me, "Oh, you're so beautiful, you're so graceful, you're so..." It just makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Once you're in a relationship, yeah, it's fine. I like someone to tell me things like that. It's nice, but if I'm not in a relationship with them, it sounds a bit like flattery, and it sounds a bit too much for me. Then after that, I was still on the same dating app, and I had a fourth date. I wasn't really, to be honest, I wasn't really enjoying this dating process. It's something I was forcing myself to do, because I wanted to have another relationship, and I wanted to have love again in my life, and to, I didn't want to just give up, so anyway, that person, he had a good job too, but there was a few red flags. I mean, I know it's a bit corny, and it's a bit generic to say red flags, it's a bit... Sometimes there's red flags, but you can overlook them and think, oh yeah, this is a red flag, but it's okay for me. It's okay, I can deal with this. But other red flags, you can't, and that's like sort of, they make you more uncomfortable, I mean, you're never going to find a person who's 100% perfect, so that's what I mean. And I wasn't trying to either, as long as I liked the person, and he was prepared to have a go at a relationship with me, and seeing each other and see how things evolved. So yeah, so that date number 4, how can I describe him? He was very talkative, he was very confident, very quite good looking, um, a little bit overweight, but I don't mind that in men. I think I'd rather have a little bit man who's a little bit bigger than someone who's really scrawny. You know, it's makes me feel more secure and more protected, and you know, it's I like that feeling. You know, that cuddly feeling when I hug someone who's a bit, you know, who's got a bit of flesh on their bones. So that didn't really bother me, and he was going to the gym and he was quite fit. I mean, he had muscly arms. He had a good job. He was a plumber, which is really well paid here where I am in Australia. It's a very well paid job. It's very respected, and yeah, as soon as we matched, he wanted to have a conversation on the phone, and I said, okay, fine. So we talked for quite a while, for a long time. Had a good sense of humor. He was from England, from England, so he had this dry sense of humor, this English sense of humor. Really made me laugh a lot. He was great, I think very well spoken, but very funny and very witty. Yeah, I like that. And when we met up, we had a drink at a little cafe, and we met up. And he really liked me. He said, "Oh, you know, you look so good. You look like your photos, not like some ladies. They put up photos there that are, 10 years old, but they don't look like that anymore, or they use filters and stuff like that. But you look really nice, and you look really nice and fresh." He said, kept saying that we look fresh. Well, I don't really think so, but anyway, that's what he thought. And I asked him a little bit. Well, he hadn't been in Australia for too long. He just came. He was over east, I think in Melbourne or Sydney first, and he'd been in Australia I think for maybe 3 or 4 years altogether, or maybe a little bit long. I don't know. I can't remember. The whole details. But anyway, he was with a partner when he was living in the eastern states, and he has a daughter. I think a 4-year-old daughter or something like that. Quite young, very young. And I asked him, "Do you have any contact with your daughter?" He said, "Oh, no, none whatsoever." So how can a father, I mean, he was with this woman, just, leave that place, leave that city, move to the other side of the country, and not even be interested in having any contact with his daughter? I found that not very caring, and it's not really a good thing. And I sort of thought, this man has got a bit of a not a very good attitude about this, or his morals are not very good. I don't know. And also he wanted me to yeah, the first date was actually during his working time, and he was in my area, and he said, "I've got a break for now, let's meet up." So we met up while he was in my area. But after that, he demanded that I drive all the way to his place, which is south of Perth. So it's south of, and it's quite a long drive. And I thought to myself, why should I drive there? Why should? And he wanted me to pick him up. So I thought, no, looks like he's quite a lazy person, and he expects me to do all the work, to go and pick him up. And I said, "Don't you have a car?" I said, "Oh, no, I only have the car or a van that he uses for work." And so, he didn't have a car, personal, vehicle or whatever. And I suggested, well, maybe we can meet halfway between my place and your place, and you just take your work car, or whatever, you know. But he didn't like that either. He said, "Oh no, that place is still too far away. I don't want to go all that way." And it wasn't. It wasn't really that far away from where he lived, but it felt to me he didn't want to put in the effort. And and then I asked. We were talking about where our living arrangements, and I own my own house. It's paid off. I don't have a mortgage. I worked very hard all my life. Um, I am, you know, um, yeah, I work very hard in my job, and I've always worked, even while bringing up my 6 children. I've always, not with the first, but with the other ones, the 5, you know, I've always worked, and I always put an effort into, and I always made sure I had my own money as well, especially in my second marriage. I was married twice, divorced twice, and my second marriage, I always made sure that I had my own money. And so I was able to have a place to live. Yeah. Anyway, that aside, it looked like he didn't want to put much effort, but he kept saying, "Oh, come and pick me up and come and stay at my place." I said, "What's your place? What is it like?" And he said, "Oh, I'm just renting a bedroom of this lady." I said, "Oh my God, he hasn't even, it's not even a proper place. He's just renting a room in this lady's house, and like a student, or, you know, for a man in his, you know, in his 50s or whatever, that's just not good enough, you know. I mean, and he has a job, so there's no excuse. He has a well-paying job, a job that pays way more than my job, you know, way more." And so I thought, no, I don't think I can do this. And also, sometimes he was really nice, and he was really nice, and he was really nice, saying all these nice things to me. And, "Oh, you're such a caring person, you look after your family, blah, 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 and you know, it's so good to, you know, to see that, and blah, blah." And then he would, all of a sudden, he would say something mean, you know, but I'm not not gonna give you any examples, but that was just, I thought, this guy can switch as well, you know, he can be nice, and then woof, he becomes a different person. To me, that's a no-no, because my ex was like that, you know. My ex could be really nice, and then switch to a nasty, evil person, just like that, you know. He had 2 faces, so you know, I was very, especially my second marriage was very traumatic, and said, no, I can't do this. And I also knew he was a bit of a drinker, and I was married twice to drinkers. The first one really, I could say, an alcoholic. The second one more of a functioning alcoholic, but alcohol was a big thing for them, for both my exes. And I don't drink at all anymore, because I've seen what it does to people, and it really put me off. So I don't drink at all, and I don't miss it. You know, I can have fun without a drink. I'd rather have a cup of tea, or you know, a glass of lemonade or something like that, or a glass of orange juice. And yeah, I'm not attracted to alcohol at all, you know. Since, I mean, I stopped, I think, around the age of 40, and I'm 62 now, so it's almost 22 years Anyway, I told him that, also, again, I said, you know, you're a very, very good person, and very handsome, and great sense of humor, but unfortunately, I don't think I'm a match for you. And he got really angry after that, when I said that. He got so angry, you know, and I'm glad I said, because there's no need to get angry when you get rejected, you know. This is part of the dating process. So I said, oh, thank goodness I just dodged a bullet, you know. So then after that, I signed on, because I was like a bit not disillusioned. I knew that it's not easy to, you know, to um, to find a good man. It's not easy, and I'm not terribly fussy, but I am kind of fussy, but not in the sense that he has to be 6 foot high and has to have a good job and lots of money. I don't really care about that. It's that's not important to me. It's character is more important to me. I want someone who like me looks after their health and their physique and exercises and doesn't let themselves go, doesn't drink too much, doesn't do drugs, doesn't smoke, because I don't do any of these things, um, uh, not anymore anyway. So yeah, so and I do look after myself. I try to live a healthy lifestyle as much as possible. So it's not so much about looks, because I think anyone can look good if they look after themselves, and if they have good hygiene, they dress nicely, um, they don't come with all facial hair all over the place, tattoos all over them, and I don't like that. It's just my personal preferences. I don't like beards, and I think they can look, unless they're really well trimmed and they suit the person. But in general, I think to me, that looks like a lack of hygiene to me. So anyway, I decided to subscribe to another app, and I felt that the choice on there was a lot better, and the guys on there seemed a lot better and a lot nicer, um, so I did match up with, well, first I matched up with a guy, and he seemed great. He seemed like very, very humorous as well, made me laugh a lot, very intelligent, very well spoken, could write really, really nice, really great messages, and but a very good sense of humor, and we were going to go on a date, but then I matched up with this guy, and wow, I thought, wow, he looks great. He was great looking. Really, really handsome, very fit, extremely fit looking, uh, good hair, not balding or anything, no beard. Um, and it said on his profile, I remember, that he didn't like dogs. And so that was kind of a deal breaker for him. He didn't want, or it looked like he didn't want someone with a dog. And I only have cats, and I'm not a big fan of dogs either. I don't have anything against dogs, and I would never abuse an animal. I would always respect people who have dogs, and when they come to me, I pat them and all that. But I'm not a great fan of having a dog myself, because they bark, and I don't like a lot of noise, and I just don't like the way they always want your attention. Where cats sort of do their own thing, they just eat some food and they just go outside, they entertain themselves. But dogs, you have to give them that attention all the time. And it's fair enough. But yeah, I'm not a dog person, and judge me for it. I don't really care. It's like, this is just the way I am. I've had dogs. My kids have had dogs, and I've always treated them really well. And I was a good dog owner. But yeah, dogs are so much more trouble than cats, and I don't want to put a lot of work into looking after a pet, taking them for walks, and having to wash them. And cats, they're always clean. They clean themselves. And dogs, you got to sort of wash them, and they want to. And they want this attention all the time, all the time. Which, fair enough, great. Some people love it. Anyway, And I sort of had a bit of a laugh, and then we started exchanging messages, and he was very well. I think he wrote really well. He wrote messages really well. It was very engrossing, and told me a little bit about his life. And he was a single dad with, at the time, his daughter was 16 years old, and I found that really, like, that was a green flag for me, because a guy who takes responsibility for his child is, to me, that's so awesome, because both my exes were not very good fathers, especially the second one doesn't have anything to do with his daughter, he's not interested at all. So someone who takes responsibility like that, and he devotes his life to bringing up his daughter on his own without a woman by his side, it's, to me, that's quite amazing. And I was just there, I said, oh wow, I like that, I really like that. Yeah, so yeah, we kept exchanging messages, and we had a really good exchange, and we connected really well in that way. And we didn't have any phone calls, but it didn't bother me too much, because we already connected so well with messages, so that I didn't really need that, and so we had our first date, and we went for a walk in a park, a really nice park here. And same thing, we talked really well, we got along really well, and I think I did. I don't know. I don't know if I liked him or not, because yes, he was quite good looking. But he wasn't very humorous. He was quite serious. Um, I found that there was something about him that really put me off a little bit, or that I didn't like. I didn't connect with that. I like guys who make me, who at least make me smile or make me laugh, but there wasn't that type of connection between us. And it's still, to this day, it's still like we're still together. So, but yeah. So when we first met, our first date lasted like for about 60 minutes as well. Then I went home, he got home, and later on I thought, oh no, I don't. He's a nice guy, and he seems to be a great person. I like great values and great morals, looking after his daughter. And I messaged him. I said, look, I'm sorry, but you're a great person, and really good looking, and really caring, but I don't really want to pursue this. And oh, he was very upset. He said, oh, but in a nice way. He wrote me back and said, oh, that's such a shame. I really liked you, and I really hoped we would see each other again, and we would have another date. And oh, I like that, because normally when you say, oh, it didn't really, there wasn't, it didn't really, how do you say that, click between us, and I don't want to. Normally, the guys, they don't say anything, and they just basically ghost you or whatever. But him saying he was disappointed, and he'd actually really liked me, I sort of, and I thought about it, and then I wrote back and said, look, give me a couple of weeks, and I will think about this, and I will get back to you. He said, okay. Then the weekend came, and I thought about it, and I said, well, if he really likes me, and even if I don't like him that much, and he seems to be a good person, he's not my type, he's not, but who cares? Maybe my type is not the right type for me, that's why I've always been unlucky in relationships. And I thought, I think I should really give this a go. And so I wrote back to him. I said, look, I've thought about it, and I'd really like us to have a second date. I've thought, very deeply about it. And yeah, I appreciate what you said to me, and yeah, I want to give this a go. And he was very happy, so we organized our next date, and it all went from there, and we're still together now. And but I have a lot more to say about it. I'm just going to finish now because I have a few more things to do, but I will, you know, continue with that story and see how, where it takes me or whatever. Yeah, okay. I hope you have a nice time, and I'll see you soon again. Bye bye.